So this is Professor BRB. Now we're quickly finishing our master page here. We just have a few more things to do. And the next thing we will be doing is creating these three blocks of text so that we can see what our typeface looks in different sizes. And in typography, type size and leading, which is the space between the lines, is usually specified as a fraction. So if you look at this one, you have 9-point type with 11 points of lead, 10-point type with 12 points of lead, and 12-point type with 14 points. And just it's a good general rule that your leading number should always be bigger than your type number, because otherwise the lines will get too close. So let's get back to my working document here. So I'm going to put my selection tool, my black cursor up here, and into my ruler and push down my mouse button. I'm just going to drag down a rule. And yours doesn't have to be exactly like mine, but I'm going to do mine right here at 43 picas 6. That looks like a pretty good location. Now I want to create 3 text frames, so I choose my type tool and I'm just going to create 3 text frames here. And I'm going to type what will be my labels here, so I'm going to go 9/12 and I'm going to hit return. And before I go any further, I'm going to go up to my top bar here and choose my character formatting controls and choose Garamond Pro. Notice it's up here in the top because I've used it recently. Regular, because that's what we're working with. And I've already said that I wanted it to be 9-point type and 11-point leading. So that's good. I choose my specifications here. I'm going to leave the alignment at align left. And because I don't really have any copy ready and I don't feel like typing anything in, I'm going to use a very cool little InDesign feature called placeholder text. So under the type menu, I just go here and I choose fill with placeholder text. And it fills my frame up with kind of nonsense text, which is really just fine with me. So now I'm going to go over here, and my next one is going to be 10/12. I'll hit return and choose Garamond Pro Regular again. And this time it's going to be 10-point type. And notice it automatically goes to 12-point, which is standard leading, and that is the type size plus 20%. And I can see that InDesign has calculated this. It's what we call auto leading, which is what we've been using up until this point, because there are these 2 little parentheses under there. And if I want to kind of nail that down in stone and make sure it doesn't recalculate for me, I can just choose the 12-point here. And then once again, fill with placeholder text. And then over here, it's going to be 11/14. Return. Garamond Pro Regular. And now I'm going to make this 11/14. And once again, fill with placeholder text. So that was easy. What I want to do now, though, is I want to apply my labeling style to these, and I also would like to make them into real fractions. So let's go to my character styles here, and I remember we made labels earlier, and I'm just going to choose that and apply that style. And if I want to make real fractions, I can do that by simply going up here to my Opentype menu and choosing fractions. That's kind of a nice thing to do. It's a little touch, but it does make it look a lot more professional. And you can do this with absolutely any two numbers. So it's kind of a nice trick if you get a fraction that is a little bit more difficult to find. So that looks pretty good to me. And all we really have to do now to finish up our master page is put down here our running footer with a name and a page number. And the typographic term for page number is folio. And then we're going to create a picture box here, or a picture frame, where you can later put in a little logo or a photo or something that you would like to have identifying this as your personal kind of type sample page. So let's draw a rule to guide us here. Go back to our selection tool here and just drag this down. I don't want it to get too close to the edge because if I print this on a laser printer, it might not print everything. So I'll go right here to 63 picas. Looks like a pretty good location to me. And I'm just going to draw another rule here to help me with my margins. Help me line things up. As graphic designers love to line things up. Now we're going to create a little frame here that will later on hold our logo. And just kind of create a little frame there. Doesn't have to be exact size. If you want it to be a perfect square, hold down your shift key while you do it. Mine's 3 picas 3, which is 3 picas 3 points. That's fine. And if I want to be able to see it, I can go to my swatches palette here and just choose a color or an outline. There, I just flipped that, so it's a kind of a blue box now. Now I'm going to choose create a text frame to hold the student name, and that would be your name, and a page number. So we would like these to be in our character style labels. So let's just go ahead and choose that character style. And then you can type your name in there. And now we're going to insert a large, long space. And you remember that that long dash was called an M dash. Now we're going to insert an M space. You may recall that when we inserted an N dash, we found it in the type menu, and we find our M spaces in almost exactly the same place. We go to type, we see we have insert white space here, and there's all kinds of choices, all kinds of spaces. And what we want is an M space, which is going to be a wide space. If we zoom in on this, you can see the non-printing marker, this long dash indicates that it's an N space with the dot underneath it. If you're wondering what an M and an N is, it is a relative form of measurement, and that relates to the size of the type. So in 12-point type, an M would be 12 points, and an N would be half of that, 6 points. This is 10-point type right here, so our M is 10 points long, and an N would be half of that, 5 points. So the last thing that we want to insert here is a folio, which is the graphic design name for a page number. So we're going to find that also in the type menu, under Insert Special Characters, Markers, and you choose Current Page Number. Now, surprisingly, you don't see a number there, you see an A, and that is because we are on Master Page A. And if you just type an A in here, it won't work. So make sure that you don't try that shortcut, because I can tell you from experience, it doesn't work. So now I'm going to select this, and I want to push it over to the right, and I'm going to go up into my character formatting here and choose the Align Right button. Very good. So now that is aligning to the right, which is just where I want it. So let's take a look at, let's just fit this in window for the moment. Page in window. Our master page is pretty well completed. There's only one more thing that we need to do, which is assign a paragraph style to this title up here. And this is going to be very, very important later on, because when we generate our automatic table of contents, this paragraph style is going to be what tells InDesign where to create table of content entries. So let's select this, and let's choose paragraph styles here, and choose new paragraph style, and make sure apply style to selection is there, and we are going to call it font title, and we just have to click OK, and then that's done. So here we are, our master page is now complete, and let's take a look at our document pages and see if those automatic page numbers work. I'm going to go to page 1 here, and if we zoom in on that, you can see that that is displaying as a 1. If I go to page 3, it'll display as a 3, and on page 5 it'll display as a 5. So that's great. It's doing exactly what I wanted. And this is a really nice feature, because if we add or subtract pages, InDesign will automatically calculate and correct the page numbers for us. So that is pretty good. So let's go Fit Page in Window here. And we are on page 1, and you can check that down here and see that you're on page 1. And what we want to start doing now is going through and applying different typefaces to our remaining 9 pages. So we did everything on the master page for Adobe Garamond Pro, so I really don't need to make any changes to this page. So let's go now to page 2, and I want to show maybe Adobe Garamond Pro Italic rather than regular. Now if I go to my type tool, I will notice that when I try to select this type to change it, I can't do it. It's locked, and that is because it's a master page item. So on a Mac, if I hold down my Command Shift and I click on this, it releases it. And I believe that is a Control Shift on a PC. So if I go Garamond Pro here, I can just select regular and type in italic. Now I can just go and change all of the type on this page to italic, and this is a little bit tedious, but it's not too difficult. Again, this is locked, so I hold down Command Shift and I click, and now that releases this entire frame from the master page. So if I select my type here, I don't want to change my labels, I just want to change this to italic. Oops, just going to change that to italic. 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 Excellent. Let's fit our page into window here. And all of the rest of this, I could just select this all in one because I don't have a label in my way here. And so you can see now I've got to, these are separate text frames, and every text frame has to be unlocked. So once again, I'm going to change this to italic, and that might make a little bit of a problem in that it shortened up the text. And if that bothers me, if I just put my cursor at the end and I redo under the type menu, fill with placeholder text, it will fill that back out for me. So once again, I have to unlock this one. Change it to italic, and unlock this one, and change it to italic. So that worked out pretty well. And now this, so I now have 2 pages. I have my Adobe Garamond Pro, which is the master page, and my Adobe Garamond Pro Italic. So now I can go ahead, and here I'm going to do Shift-click here, and let's say I want to try Adobe Caslon Pro for my next 2 pages. I just choose Adobe Caslon Pro Regular, and I'm just going to go through the whole process all over again. So this may seem a little bit tedious, but it's similar to what a lot of graphic design production is, which is dealing with details. And you can go ahead and choose whatever typefaces you have in your menu. There's Adobe Caslon Pro, one of my personal favorites. And you can just go through, and once I've chosen it, it'll be up there at the top. And you can just go through and change the entire page as you see fit. And there we are. So once you have gone through all 10 pages, and put different typefaces on every page, we will be ready to move on to the next step, which is to design our table of contents. So we will begin setting up the styles in the next video that will make that possible.